जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरधारी जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोधनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोधनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोधनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोधनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनचारि यमुनतीरावनचारि हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Nittai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaur Hari Bol. युगधर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, शील प्रभुपाद की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये, नस्तप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तेर्भवति नैष्टिकी। So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 31. Narada instructs the Prachetas. Text 9. Narada Uvacha तज्जन्मतानि कर्माणि तद् तद् आयुस्तन्मनोवचः नृणां येन हि विश्वात्मा सेव्यते हरिरीश्वरः तज्जन्मतानि कर्माणि तद्यायुस्तन्न मनोवचः नृणां येन हि विश्वात्मा सेव्यते हरिरीश्वरः तज्जन्मतानि कर्माणि तद्यायुस्तन्मनोवचः नृणां येन हि विश्वात्मा सेवते हरिरीश्वरः तज्जन्मतानि कर्माणि तदायुस्तन्मनोवचः नृणां येन हि विश्वात्मा सेव्यते हरिरीश्वरः नारद उवाच तज्जन्मतानि कर्माणि तदायुस्तन्मनोवचः नृणां येन हि विश्वात्मा सेवते हरिरीश्वरः. Word to word meaning. Narado vachaha. Narada said, Tajjanma, that birth, Tani, those, Karmani, true to activities, Tat, that, Ayuhu, span of life, Tat, that, Manaha, mind, Vachaha, words, Nunam, of human beings, Ena, by which, he, certainly, Vishwa Atma, the super soul, Sevyate, is served, Harihi, the supreme personality of Godhead, Ishvaraha, the supreme controller. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The great sage Narada said, when a living entity is born to engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Controller, his birth, all his fruitive activities, his lifespan, his mind, and his words are all factually perfect. Purport. In this words, the word Nunam is very important. There are many other births besides human birth, but Narada Muni is herein especially speaking of human birth. Among human beings, there are different types of men. Of these, those who are advanced in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness are called Aryans. Among Aryans, one who engages in the devotional service of the Lord is most successful in life. The word Nunam indicates that lower animals are not expected to engage in devotional service of the Lord, but in perfect human society, everyone should engage in the devotional service of the Lord. It does not matter whether one is born poor or rich, black or white. There may be so many material distinctions for one who takes birth in human society, but everyone should engage in Lord's devotional service. At the present moment, civilized nations have given up God consciousness for economic development. They are actually no longer interested in advancing in God consciousness. Formerly, their forefathers who engaged in executing religious principles Whether one is Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Jewish, or whatever, everyone has same religious institution. Real Real religion, however, means becoming God conscious. It is particularly mentioned herein that birth is successful if an interest in Krishna consciousness is taken. Activity is successful if it results in serving the Lord. Philosophical speculation or mental speculation is successful when engaged in understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The senses are worth possessing when engaged in the service of the Lord. Actually, devotional service means engaging the senses in the service of the Lord. At the present moment, our senses are not purified. Therefore, our senses are engaged in the service of society, friendship, love, politics, sociology, and so on. However, when the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, one attains bhakti or devotional service. In the next verse, these matters will be more clearly explained. When one great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the Lord, he said that all his desires were fulfilled. He said, "Today everything is auspicious. Today my birthplace and neighborhood are completely glorified. Today my senses, from my eyes down to my toes, are fortunate. Today my life is successful because I have been able to see the lotus feet that are worshipped by the goddess of fortune." ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरतिशवे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. Translation. The great sage Narada said, when a living entity is born to engage in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Controller, his birth, all his fruit activities, his lifespan, his mind, and his words are all factually perfect. So we are reading this chapter, Narada instruction, the Prachetas. So here, Prachetas, they are entering into the renounced order of life. Prachetas, by the by seeing the form of the Lord, by glorifying, and by the mercy of the Lord, they are being get married to Maricha, who is the daughter of an damsel. Then later, after quite long time they engaged in the grahastha life, then now they are entering into the vanaprastha. They are going into the renounced order of life. If you see in a human life, there are four ashramas in which all the majorly three ashramas are related to renounced order of life, and only one ashrama, grahastha ashrama, is the one which is having some social responsibilities. Other than that, the life begins with brahmachari ashram and ends with sannyas ashram, and vanaprastha grahastha. Like grahastha is the one which is like there are social responsibilities, but the brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyas all are in renounced order of life. So this varnashrama system itself especially specifies that the human form which we have is very temporary. We don't know when we are going to die. So there is no point of getting attachments to this temporary world. So only in the varnashrama we have renounced order of life as a major, so that they can just do their duty in the grahastha life. Then whatever they have attachments when they are in grahastha life, after that they have to enter into vanaprastha and sannyas, in which especially vanaprastha ashram is meant to get detached from the attachments which we have in the grahastha life. So here prachetas, now they are entering into this renounced order of life. Now they have given up their grahastha life. And we have seen when a person is qualified, then great souls, they come automatically they to guide. We have seen same Prachita story where when they are qualified, when they are searching to do some severe austerity, so Lord Shiva, great personality, came and he guided by giving Rudragita to them. And as a result of performing that great austerity by following the instructions of a great soul, they were able to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead and have the darshan of the Lord directly, face to face. And now, here, Prachetas, they are now qualified to enter into the Grahastha ashram, renounced ashram. So here, great soul, Narad Muni came to give instructions how to follow. And yesterday class also we hear, out of great humility, these Prachetas were requesting Narad Muni to enlighten them in this devotional service, so that they can get attached to the lotus feet of the Lord and detached from their material activities. And the first portion of this purport, Prabhupada is talking about Nunam. So, I'm just searching for the Nunam. Nunam is human beings, it's been indicated. And here in the first portion, Prabhupada is quoting, like, about the Aryans. If you see in different places, Prabhupada gives the definition of an Aryan. Here Prabhupada gives definition of Aryans are of those who are advanced in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness are called Aryans. We see this Aryan word is being used or being quoting as a in the Vedas since time immemorial, and there are different. There are so many meanings for the Aryans. We can see, like, Aryans are one who are well cultured. They are followers of Vedas. They are all well educated, well knowledgeable, and they are the they have strong faith in devotional service. They don't get deviated from their devotional activities, what they are doing. They don't have any doubt in practicing Krishna consciousness. They are very strongly fixed up in practicing Krishna consciousness. They're all the definitions of an Aryan. They strictly follow the instructions of the Lord. Those are the one who are following all these things are called Aryans. And if you see in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna being told by Krishna to fight, when Arjuna was not able to fight, he has been called as Anaryan because he was not following the instructions of Lord. The one who is not following the instructions of Lord is called Anaryan. The one who follows the instructions of the Lord as per Bhagavad Gita scriptures, so they are called Aryans. And if you see, Aryans, like generally now in Kali Yuga, we can't see, most of the people are Anaryans only. We can't see Aryans. But we should thank Srila Prabhupada because we are in the movement of ISKCON where Prabhupada has taught us how to be like an Aryan. Because Prabhupada gives the same instructions what Krishna has given. He is just following. He emphasized to follow all those. So the one who are following Krishna consciousness are called Aryans. But other than that, we see most of them are Anaryans. Because if you see, when a child is in the womb, this comes in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Kapila instructs Devahuti how a child grows in a womb, how the consciousness grows in the womb. And in that description, there it is clearly mentioned, like a soul which is there inside the womb, he prays to the Lord before he comes delivered out of the womb. He prays to the Lord, that he promises to the Lord saying that I will do devotional service when I come out. But he goes through a terrible pain when he comes out, he forgets everything. And out of this ignorance, forgetfulness, like he is not able to practice Krishna consciousness and he is entangled in this material world. But it is the duty of a parents to give that kind of knowledge and engage the kids in the Krishna conscious activity, especially by performing these 10 samskaras which are favorable to practice Krishna consciousness. See, when a child takes birth, there are so many samskaras which has to be done. Nama samskara and Annaprasana samskara. Like that, there are so many abhyasa, like what we call that, Vidyaramba samskara. So these are the samskara which has to be done so that the child can revive back into a Krishna consciousness. But in this age of Kali Yuga, who is practicing these kind of samskaras? Mostly no one. 99.9% of people who are there, they are not at all, they don't know what is the samskara at all. So we can't expect Aryans from these kind of families, these kind of people. So most of them are Anaryans. But thanks to Srila Prabhupada that we are all able to practice Krishna consciousness very nicely. By the guidance of Prabhupada, we are able to nicely follow Krishna consciousness and we are into this Aryan family now. If not, this Prabhupada and this ISKCON was not there, then we may be like into the same category of Anaryans. We don't know where is our life going, how it is going to end. Terrible life. But now we have taken into Krishna consciousness, we are not fearful about these kind of material hankerings and things like that. We know, like, we are only worried about how can I uh, become more deeper into Krishna consciousness, how can I go more deeper into Krishna consciousness. Not much worried about material attachments or material so-called happinesses and all. Because by reading scriptures, by hearing Prabhupada lectures, by practicing Krishna consciousness, we know that those are all temporary. And now we are able to give those, we are completely detached from those kind of material activities. If not today, but tomorrow, definitely we will be having that kind of understanding and we'll give up those kind of material attachments. So here Prachetas, they are able to give up their family life and enter into the Renaissance order of life. And Narad Muni, he voluntarily came there to instruct, give them, guide the Prachetas how to lead a life. And in the furthermost slokas, especially about devotional service has been more discussed. What kind of births are there, how many kinds of births, and different things in devotional service. Those are being given. So the human form of life is meant for practicing Krishna consciousness. That is our main goal. See, Aryan will never deviate from his goal. He is fixed. He knows what is the goal. He knows what to do. But if you see here, Prabhupada says, animals are not expected to engage in devotional service. They are not that intelligent. They are not Aryans. But human form, human life has this opportunity to know what is our goal of life. If we just engage this life in eating, sleeping, mating and defending, then that life is also equivalent to an animal life. So means we have given the opportunity to know what is the value of this life, how to come out of this material entanglements, and how can we become perfect by practicing Krishna consciousness. But we are losing this opportunity. We are just engaged in eating, sleeping, mating and defending like animals. So only the one humans who are not inquiring about why I am here, what is my purpose, what is the goal of life, they are simply called as the Pada Pashu. They are two-legged animals. They are no more called as a humans because they lost their human qualities. Human beings have greater intelligence which animals doesn't have. So that has to be properly engaged. So we have to inquire. The devotional practice starts from the inquiry. Who am I? Why am I here? Who is God? What is my relationship with Him? So what is the perfection of life? We should know all these things. If we just simply do the rat race like a materialistic does, they are just behind earning money, searching here and there some so-called happiness. So that is not the life. So here Bhagavatam teaches us by quoting so many great personalities' life, by which we can practice, we can understand how to lead a life. See, Aryans are not only interested in at the end of the life how to get liberated. They know how to lead a life also. So when Aryans are engaged in their duties, they practice it very nicely. They set an example. In the Bhagavatam, one of the purports, in the further purports, Prabhupada says, the ideal Aryans are Kardama Muni in a Brahmana, as a Brahmana, and Swayambhu Manu as a Kshatriya. They both are ideal Aryans. If you see the story of a Kardama Muni, he is a strong Brahmana. He practiced very nicely and he was doing very severe austerities. And he did such a great austerities, Lord came in front of him having tears in his eyes, having ecstasy tears, happy tears. You see, like, with the tears that Bindu Sarovar have been formed. So Lord was so pleased with the Kardama Muni's austerity, because our life is meant to please the Lord. Our goal of life is to give pleasure to the Lord. So Kardama Muni was doing that. And he has been told to engage in the family life. When he get married to Devahuti, he still continued practicing Krishna consciousness before and after. There is no change. He didn't, what we call, uh, reduce the standards what he was practicing. He was practicing very strongly. So when he got married, he married with a condition, saying that as soon as when I beget a children, I will leave, I will renounce this family life. And he goes to do severe austerities again. That was the condition he made with Swayambhu Manu before he get married. No, they are all agreed for that. So that was his practice. He was not at all deviated. He was very strong. So Aryan is the one who is fixed up in Krishna consciousness. He never get deviated. In whichever situation you put him, he practice sincerely, seriously Krishna consciousness. He will not get deviated. So we should also practice in that way. Now, as a sadhakas, we are facing so many challenges in practicing Krishna consciousness. But under the guidance of senior devotees and reading the scriptures, we'll come to that stage where we can practice Krishna consciousness continuously without any deviations. So we should come to that level. And here, in one of the parts of Bhagavatam, whenever great souls meet together, they discuss about the welfare of the world. So in this connection, when Narad Muni in the Indraprasthan, he meets Yudhishthira Maharaj, they have some of these discussions about the welfare of the world. They are discussing about themselves, but having a idea of how to help this world. They have that all the time. They will be thinking how to deliver this world. In this, most of the time, if I read Bhagavatam, I can see Narad Muni as a great hero than Lord, because everywhere you see Narad Muni is there first to help, give them pure Krishna consciousness. So when Narad Muni met Yudhishthira Maharaj in Indraprasthan, he started inquiring with Yudhishthira Maharaj, are you following the dharma and giving up your artha and kama? He was asking this question to Yudhishthira Maharaj because as a king, Brahmana is supposed to be there in one place and do practice Krishna consciousness and give this Krishna consciousness to other. But a Kshatriya is not a one who's supposed to be there in a palace and enjoying his opulence. He is supposed to go around his kingdom and see whether all are practicing any one of the dharma, any one of the religion, like ashrama properly. So he should establish that if someone is not able to follow, then he has to facilitate and he makes them to follow the ashrama, particular ashrama. Varna ashrama should be nicely taken care by the king. So he is supposed to go around in the kingdom and watch out what is happening, whether everyone is following dharma or not, everyone is following vanaprastha system or not. If not, then he has to establish it. And if king is so much into dharma, like uh, into devotional service, then that is not a proper way of executing a king's duty. King's duty should be such a way that he has to manage all of that, including his Krishna consciousness activities. Because it's his duty. He has to take care of humans, even the animals, and everyone within the kingdom. And even Narad Muni asked these questions: are you not following dharma and only interested in artha? So that is also a problem. So if you are neglecting dharma and only involved in artha, then there is no progress. So it is very important that a king should be having this kind of activities nicely managed. So in a society we see nowadays, like as here Prabhupada says, on the name of economic development, they give up this, like God consciousness. At the present moment, civilized nations has given up God consciousness for economic development. But this is not a right way of practice. As a government, he should manage all of them. Not that to make some development, I have to give up this God consciousness. No, become atheist. No. He should practice such a way that he should be an expert. Like Swayambhu Manu, because why he is called as a ideal Aryan, because he was able to manage each and everything very nicely. In that case, like you can see many examples in Srimad Bhagavatam, exalted kings who are nicely managing their duties and practicing Krishna consciousness. At one point of time, they give their responsibilities to others, and they take up fully to Krishna consciousness. So, but here in the modern civilization, we can see they give up this kind of God consciousness. They don't want to practice by the name of saying that no advancement or development and things like that. But actually, when you give up this God consciousness, we can see there is no development. Because here in the Prabhupada also says in the purport, it does not matter whether one is born poor, rich, black, white. When you are practicing Krishna consciousness, we are as like a family. There is no more quarrel. There is unity. But if there is no God consciousness, God is not in the center, then there is a lot of fights. Prabhupada in many purports or many lectures, he says, United Nations flags are being grown up, but there are no kind of any unity between the nations. So Prabhupada says is because they are not God consciousness. By the name of economic development, they don't want to practice Krishna consciousness. They want to give up, rather thinking that this is not useful to do economic development. But if you see, if you give up this God consciousness, there is no development at all. Rather, there will be fights, quarrel. You can see many nations are just fighting because of a piece of land. They are bodily conscious. They are not grown up. Their consciousness is in the animal level. They are still considered like, you see, one street dog comes in another street, the street dogs will bark. Here, same human beings also fighting for that, for one piece of land. So, what is the use of having this animal consciousness? So, this human life is meant to practice God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. If not, there is no economic development. And what to speak of economic development? First, there is no development within ourselves. So, it starts from us. Like, if it is not there, then how can you do development in the society? So, in this way, like Narad Muni giving a lot of instructions to the Prachetas, very nice chapter. The further slokas, there are a lot of very nice discussions are going to happen, which are very important for us as a sadhaka to follow. See, Prachetas, they are perfected already. Narada is also perfect being. They are coming together, discussing all these things just for our sake. So that how can we practice Krishna consciousness so that we can perfect our life? Or else, like, we will be leading a animal life. So in this way, this chapter, Narada instructing the Prachetas are very, very important for a sadhaka. So with this, I just pause today's class. So any comments, questions, corrections?
Krishna. So this point was very nice. That Brahmana's job is to sit in one place and to execute his dharma. Kshatriya's job is to go around the kingdom and then see that everything is going on perfectly. And Swayambhu Manu was such a person like who was effectively managing everything very nicely. It was a nice point.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So at the start of the class, you made this point that renounced order of life is almost 75% of one's life. So it's nice. The ones who have inclination towards renounced order can remain in the renounced order throughout. Why take a break of 25% in between? Sometimes because of some family attachment or because of some pull, they are, even when someone has inclination, they're not able to get into the renounced order of life. So they have to think this particular thing that anyway 75% I have to be in renounced order. So already I'm inclined. No, let me go ahead. Let me do it. And it's also an inspiration for brahmacharis who are already there in the ashram that let me continue as much as possible. And then 25% will pass away anyways. Then the rest 50% will remain. So very nicely, this thing is made by the Lord that only for 25%, you have some break in between, but at start and at the end, you have to be renounced. So you explained this very nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Actually, who will have more responsibility, like social responsibility related to that? Renounced person is having more responsibility, or person who is in Grostha Asrama has more responsibility, social responsibility.
As a sannyasi, he has to go around and preach this Krishna consciousness movement so that everyone can take the advantage of Krishna conscious movement. See, grahasthas, they are also supposed to practice Krishna consciousness within their home. It's not like if you are not practicing Krishna consciousness, that is not a grahastha ashrama. We don't call as grahasthas, we call as grahmedis. So it's not like, means all the ashramas has their own responsibilities for the social this one. But as a sannyasi, he is supposed to go around, travel around to place and preach this Krishna consciousness wide, more wide. The grahasthas, they stay there in the home itself, and they lead their family into Krishna consciousness, and they become ideal families. So they become what we call and role models to other new grahasthas who has came into grahastha life. So they will be taking guidance from the grahasthas. But sannyasis are the one who also preaches the grahasthas and who also go all over the world and give this Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So this point again that which Prabhuji mentioned regarding the renounced order of life, that in the Varna ashram system, all these ashramas, be it the Brahmachari, Vanaprastha or Sannyas ashram, they are meant for getting detached from the material things and attaching ourselves to devotional service. So in a way, the entire Varnashram system is designed so that we can slowly and steadily get detached from these material attachments and elements and get attached in devotional service. And since now in Kali Yuga, Varnashram system is no longer existing, so we should be grateful that Srila Prabhupada has given this organization where we can come and practice devotional service in the association of devotees. So this was very nice. One question I wanted to ask regarding the last thing you mentioned about United Nations, that they claim to offer world peace, but again the number of flags are increasing and there is no unity. So how can any spiritual organization help in that? Like we talk of helping, like that is the Prabhupada mentioned that ISKCON can bring world peace and we can take the United Nations, we can take that role. But we see even in spiritual organizations there are so many conflicts, there are so many issues coming. Means so not just even with few devotees we have so many issues and so many things cropping up. So how can a spiritual organization offer that alternative?
So when you talk about to be united means the goal should be the same. If the goal is not same, then there will be lot of misunderstandings or their own kind of understandings. See, we can see the conflicts within the spiritual organizations because they forget the goal of the spiritual organization. The spiritual organization is not meant for the politics, that I want to be a leader, you want to be leader, why you want to be leader. Then you are into the body consciousness. Then the goal or the purpose for which that organization is established is lost. So only Prabhupada says, like, whatever I have given, I am not expecting that you develop it, at least maintain it, Prabhupada says. He is not expecting that you develop it. Because we are in this material world and in this material body, we have this kind of some kind of like we may get deviated. Maya will trick us by showing us name, fame, followers. We get deviated. But the person who is getting deviated, if you see, he is forgetting basics of that movement, basic principles. That is the foundation. Whenever you are doing, the basics are very important. If you forget the basics, then any organization if you take, that doesn't lead to that organization goal, that don't go to that towards the goal, it get deviated in between, it get collapse. It will be not a successful organization. But here we can see Prabhupada knows, even though in the lower things, like there are so many fights, but he has maintained, given set a standard of GBC who are overlooking all these kind of problems, because we are not perfected souls yet. We may get deviated or we may get carried away by the Maya easily, by the name, fame, followers. Tomorrow it may happen, no wonders it happens with everyone, with us also. Maya is so strong, it's all the test. If you are not overcome it, then you are just carried away by the Maya. If you come back to to the basic principles that no, I have to do Krishna consciousness. Krishna is the center, I am not the center. Let them lead. Why should I fight with them? Oh, Prabhuji, Vaishnava, you are a great Vaishnava, you only lead. I can assist you. Why can't we take a humble position? Why should we fight? Oh, I want to be a leader in this place. And he also claims that no, I want to be this leader. Their huge land is vacant. You can go and do so many things, wonders in other places. Not only in a small piece of land. Why you want to fight? So it's very important to get connected to the ground. If you fly, then you will be lost. You should be always connected to the ground. Be humble and come back to the principles, basics. Basics are very important. If you lost that, there is no foundation. Foundation without foundation, building will collapse. The foundation should be very strong. There is no foundation, then that's all. There is a danger. So this applicable for all, like any institution, any nation. If you take, if the goal is, if they are back to the goal, then they can be united. But people are having different ideas. They think themselves, they keep themselves as in the center, right? So only they feel, they fight. I'm right, you are wrong.
The management question. So.
Yeah, morning I was hearing Srila Prabhupada's class on Prabhupada was mentioning about Gandhiji. So he was on this principle of ahimsa. So then it is an unnatural thing he was mentioning. So never in the history, the kingdoms have existed, the politics or this one has existed without any fight. So Krishna wanted, Krishna knows that violence is necessary thing, and that is why the person who advocated non-violence, Krishna killed him through violence. So violence is, that's the exact words Prabhupada uses actually. So violence is needed, and violence will be there. So, but still, there is this aspect of united. This one, it's possible only in the this one of Krishna consciousness, and that is this one of dominion of the spiritual world. So in the spiritual world, everything is united because everything is Krishna conscious, and in the material world, it is not possible to get everything completely Krishna conscious. So it is only about those who want to be Krishna conscious. They will become Krishna conscious, and they'll go back to the spiritual world, and there we can actually create united nations. In the material world, we cannot falsely expect this thing to happen. As Prabhu rightly told that in the spiritual organizations are formed, so like few people will take advantage of it. That most of the people will be fighting only. Like that is the nature of material, this one. So we cannot settle that. And many people have thought of making this world an ideal place, like Gandhiji and all, but it is not possible. It is not no practical actually. No, the practicality of this material world is chaotic situation will be there. Time to time there will be a lot of problems will be there. So, but sincere people, they will take up to Krishna consciousness seriously, and they will vacate this place. So like that it would happen. And also when we create this, we are also in this one of creating a lot of centers and expanding preaching and things like that. So definitely we expect these kind of problems would come. So, and we are neither animals nor pure devotees, we are somewhere in between. So sometimes we'll show the qualities of pure devotees, sometimes we'll show the quality of dog. मेरे एरिया में क्यों आए? So that is there. So but we should tend towards pure devotional service, and we should get out. That is the this one. That's the ultimate thing. And as much as possible, like we should see that we should and in the same thing, Prabhupada was mentioning in another passage yesterday I was reading. So there he was mentioning that as little different aspect, so about agitation to the opposite sex. So he was mentioning regarding seeing the opposite sex and getting agitated. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says he sees a wooden doll of women and he gets agitated. So like no, who are we? No, we are like, and if we get agitated too by seeing the real women, so that is like natural. So but then no, how to conquer this? Prabhupada is mentioning to advance in Krishna consciousness. So the process of in the process of executing Krishna consciousness, we will face a lot of disturbances, we will face a lot of conflicts, all these things, and that is to show that no, we are still not perfected. And then like if we are sitting at back at ashram and then practicing Krishna consciousness, we will be in a false notion that we have already advanced. But if we actually get involved in the preaching activities and all the managerial activities, then we will know that we are not advanced. So then we will get the impetus, no, like time is ticking, no, I have to become very serious in Krishna consciousness, so we can go deeper in Krishna consciousness in that way. So these are all some of the thoughts.
No, then
Just
what is the Prabhupada's vision when he says that ISKCON can give that world peace?
so spiritual.
Spiritual.
So it is like that means like if everybody become pure devotee, it's a proposition. So, and it can happen in the spiritual world. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like Parikshit Maharaj when he was there and Yudhishthir Maharaj when they were there, like no, they held everything together in one place. But it could not be held for long period of time. Material world will show its face, eventually. Yeah.
One thing. So when it comes to ISKCON, okay, whatever problems we might have, but whichever center we go to, we feel home. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's our place. So even when we go to Vrindavan and Mayapur, we see so many different devotees with different color, complexion, and different accent, etc. But still, there is some unity that is there at least, when it comes to all the devotees. So that is very nice. Upar kya chal raha, that's okay, but it's very nice, as a organization as a whole, where we feel home. At least I have felt that whichever center we go, whatever it is, we don't know, but then it feels home. Okay, Prabhupada is there, our lordships are there, same prasadam is there. It's very nice like that.
Another aspect is like this one with all the fights, like people stay together. That is.
वेदराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की।